Helmets are the most critical piece of safety equipment for a motorcyclist, protecting your head and brain. But what about the rest of your body? Today we're going to take a look at the most revolutionary piece of safety equipment for motorcyclists since the helmet, that being airbag vests. This is a CE2 certified back protector from Dainese. And coincidentally, it was Dainese that released the first motorcyclist back protector back in 1979. Since then, Armor has come a long way, evolving into the advanced viscoelastic materials we see from brands like D3O that are now pretty much standard in high-quality riding gear. Laboratory testing shows that CE Level 2 certified armor reduces impact energy by at least 91%. But further studies show that it's just not very effective in preventing injuries at impact speeds above 15 miles an hour. Now let me clarify what I mean by impact speeds real quick, because if I'm going down the road on my bike at 60 miles an hour and I low side and hit the ground, I am not hitting the ground at 60 miles an hour. Let's assume that I fall from a height of about 3 feet. The speed at which I hit the ground is going to be about 9.5 miles an hour. But crashing into another vehicle, that impact force is going to be relative to the forward velocities of both me and that other vehicle. But these are just generalizations, because actual crash data is so much more complicated than that. The rider's weight comes into play, how you landed, what part of the body you landed on. All things like that are going to be a factor into how well that armor can reduce the impact energy. Plus, you have to take into account any sliding and tumbling that you're doing down the road once you've hit the ground as well. So if I'm going to crash, I would much rather do it in gear that has armor in it than without. But we have better options today in the form of wearable airbags. Motorcycle airbags have been around for quite a while, with Helite being the first to bring one to market back in 2002. Now that vest works off of a tether very similar to the Helite vest I have here. This is a Helite GP Air. It's a more track-focused airbag vest, hence the cutout on the back to allow it to fit over the hump that's typically on the back of a race suit, compared with the Helite Turtle 2, which is their more street-focused airbag vest that has full coverage across the back. This one also is a full leather construction to help it hold up better if you have multiple offs at the track, compared to the textile construction of the more street-focused Turtle 2. Both have a hard back protector on top of the airbag bladder. The GP Air also has a chest protector that the Turtle 2 does not have. Both vests work essentially the same way, with a tether. One end goes around the frame of your motorcycle, and the other end clips into the air vest. And in the event of a crash, odds are the bike's going one way, you've come off and you're going another way. And when this tether pulls out, it's going to release a CO2 canister that's going to inflate this vest in about 100 milliseconds. Now, one concern I've heard with the tether systems is people are worried about, what if I go to get off the bike, I forget to unclip it, I'm going to accidentally set it off. Well, you'll feel that resistance pulling. It takes a good bit of force to get it to deploy, which you're not really likely to do just by stepping off and stepping back a step or two. It really takes the full force of coming off the bike to make it deploy. Once inflated, it's going to offer protection well above traditional passive armor. In fact, airbags that pass the EN 1621-4 CE Level 2 standard reduce impact energy by 97.5%. And tethered systems like the Helite are typically easier to service. This one just takes a CO2 canister that costs about $35, and it's easy for you to replace it yourself. And there's no dependency on electronics or keeping a battery charged up. You just have to remember to clip that tether. But the problem with tethered systems is they do not begin to inflate until you've reached the end of this tether. So it's important to keep it as short as possible, giving yourself enough room to move around and maneuver the motorcycle as you ride. But if it's too long, you might come in contact with the ground or some other object while you're still tethered to the motorcycle before the vest begins inflating. But wireless systems like these Alpinestars TechAir units eliminate the need for a tether, instead using electronic sensors that monitor how fast you're going, what direction you're going, and how fast any of those inputs are changing, taking measurements 1,000 times a second to calculate, are you just out enjoying a ride on your favorite twisty road, or are you about to have a crash? And while Helite does make electronic versions of their airbag vest now, it was Dainese that was the first to bring one to market, having wireless airbags available for their riders in MotoGP during the 2007 season. But Alpinestars was not far behind, having theirs ready and available for the 2009 season, just 2 years later. And today it's Alpinestars that has the most options available, with different models catered to different types of riding, whether that be racetrack, on the street, or off-road. There's no tether to have to clip in. You don't even have to flip any switches or press any buttons to turn them on. These are designed to activate as soon as they are zipped up. Now you can get wireless vests that fit over top of your existing riding jacket. These ones that I have are all designed to be worn underneath. And so you need to make sure that your jacket, in that case, has a little bit of room to it so that there's room for the airbag to expand in the event of a deployment. It's not going to work so well if you have a tight, form-fitting leather jacket, unless you have a special leather jacket with expansion panels that's specifically designed to work with an airbag vest. Now, each of these TechAir units will inflate in as little as 20 to 40 milliseconds, depending on the size of the vest that you're wearing. But even worst case scenario, that's over twice as fast as the Helite vest. And they start that inflation as soon as the sensors detect you're about to have a crash. No waiting until you reach the end of a tether. In this crash test video, you can see the airbag is starting to inflate as soon as that motorcycle has a forward pitch as a result of running into that car. Now, part of the reason for that faster inflation time is that instead of CO2, these vests are using argon, which is more expensive, and on earlier models like this TechAir 5 vest, if it deploys, you have to send it into a service center for them to recharge it, inspect it, and send it back to you. While newer units like my TechAir 7X and my 5 Plasma do have a user serviceable cartridge, but that cartridge is a lot more expensive than CO2. It's going to run you about $150 to replace it. This TechAir 7X is the most comprehensive vest that I have, with full coverage at the chest, around the ribs, extended coverage down to the lower part of the spine as well. It's got 2 canisters, so you get 2 deployments out of it before you have to replace anything. This is the one I use with my track leathers, which were specifically designed to accommodate this. They have expansion panels built in so that the suit will expand to give room for the airbag to deploy. And it also has Velcros and zippers inside the lining for this to secure into it, so it becomes part of the suit. And I did put this one to the test recently. Low-sided the bike at a track day, lost the front tire, and I was going about 40 miles an hour, sliding and tumbling along the ground until I came to a stop, and I didn't have so much as a bruise anywhere on me. This vest has 2 modes, one being a race mode for use at a track, and it also has a street mode. But it's a bit bulky under my street jacket, and it's pretty heavy at 5.5 pounds. So I don't wear this one on the street. On the street, I wear the TechAir 5. Now, I started out with the original TechAir 5 a couple years ago, and then recently moved to the new TechAir 5 Plasma. Both of these are lighter and slimmer and more comfortable to wear on a daily basis compared to the 7X. And the new plasma version does have some welcome updates compared to the original, but it does have a dirty little secret that not many people seem to be talking about. Check out my other video where I do a full comparison of these two airbags for more details on that. Now, of course, there are some downsides to airbags, one being the cost. Whether you're looking at tethered or wireless, you can expect to spend anywhere between $600 to $1,200. And there's no way to sugarcoat the fact that you're adding another layer to your riding gear. Manufacturers are trying to make them as light and as comfortable to wear as possible, but the nature of the airbag bladder dictates that units with more coverage and more protection are just going to have less airflow. And that might be an issue for you if you ride in very warm climates, especially in a lot of stop-and-go traffic. And while airbags offer superior impact protection compared to passive armor, they too have their limits. Practically speaking, airbags are effective at impact speeds up to about 30 miles an hour. For one, from the time the crash is detected and the canister is deployed, you may make contact with the vehicle or object that you're crashing into before the 30 millisecond average time it takes for the wireless systems to fully deploy. And even if the airbag were to fully deploy before you made contact with that object, the fact that most wearable airbags only hold between 8 to 12 liters of air when fully inflated is going to be a limiting factor into how much force they can absorb. Compare that to a car's front airbag, which inflates to hold between 70 and 120 liters of air, which is why it can offer so much more protection at higher speeds. And that car airbag inflates in as little as 20 milliseconds because it's using a chemical reaction to fill the airbag as opposed to releasing gas from a canister. Motorcycle airbag technology is limited by the fact that it needs to be a self-contained unit that can safely inflate and be comfortable to wear and good for more than just one use. However, even giving these limitations, I still believe the airbag is superior to passive armor, but that doesn't mean that we just throw the passive armor out and not use it anymore. Each of these units has a passive back protector built in addition to the airbag bladder, because that passive armor helps to distribute that impact energy over a wider surface area, allowing the airbag bladder to more effectively absorb it. Which is why I still leave the rest of my armor in my jacket so that it can work in parallel with the airbag. Airbag vests have become part of my ATGAT routine, whether I'm on the street or on the racetrack, and I encourage everybody to consider doing the same. Now, if you want to join me for a deep dive into my two Tech Air 5 vests, including the surprising secret of the new Tech Air 5 Plasma, check out this next video. As always, thanks for watching, ride safe, and wear an airbag.